On the line, I have the original king of pop locking legend, singer, producer, songwriter, all of the above, ladies and gentlemen, Anthony A.K. King. How are you, man?
Greetings, Brother Arnold. Thank you for
Right.
having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on the show. I'm really looking forward to this.
I appreciate the warm introduction.
Yes, you've been mentioned on my show a couple of times. We recently had Cool Boy on, and he had some really good things to say about you. I got a chance to research your history. I got some cool questions, so let's do this. All right. So I kind of want to talk about Poppin first before we get into your life and then things like that, to give the audience an idea, of the lifestyle that you fell in love with in the beginning.
I am from Southern California. Boogaloo Sam and his brother Pete are from Northern California, Pete being from Fresno. Me being specifically from Compton, California, we pride ourselves in the title of pop locking. And since the Electric Boogaloos don't even claim that as a title, we in the Southland claim the term pop locking. Now, and of course, in all similarity, popping and pop locking look alike. There can be an argument about various styles and whatnot, but we from the Southland, specifically from Compton, we claim pop locking. L.A., of course, but the Southland is a term where pop locking comes from.
Gotcha.
The influence that Sam and Pete have on me. I've known Pete since 1979 when he moved to Long Beach. I was in Compton. He had influence on a couple of guys that they're neighboring cities because you're from Compton too, correct, brother?
Long Beach, but spent a lot of time in Compton as well.
Right, so we're neighbors.
Yep.
So, Pete being from Long Beach, a couple of cats from Long Beach went to my high school, which is Dominguez High School.
Yep.
And we just saw these moves, just these little popping moves. We were already locking, which is why we just kind of rolled over the term because we were migrating, us from the Southland, and prided ourselves in being lockers. Transitioning over from that terminology or from that movement into a pop movement, we kept the term. Okay. That's where the influence of Pete and I migrate together. We happen to know each other because his wife and I have known each other since the 4th grade. We grew up together. So when I met Pete, Pete would come up to my high school and Skeeter Rabbit, I'm sure you've heard of him at the time. He was not an Electric Boogaloo at the time, but he and Pete were really building their bond together at that time, and he was my main rival. We loved each other as brothers, but we loved getting on the dance floor, going at each other, sharpening steel, and we would go at each other all night long. So the relationships are very close. I think if there's any variation of idea of the dance is where those from the Bay, keep the term popping, where us in the Southland, we pride ourselves in the term pop locking. But the relationship's there. Gotcha.
Thanks for breaking that down, my man. So, 70s and 80s, city of Compton. It was a different time, until sadly certain elements entered our neighborhood. But talk to me about what it was like growing up in the 70s, 80s. You were born in 62, I believe. So yeah, 60s, 70s, 80s in Compton.
Yeah. So being born in 62 and 75, that makes me 13, 14. So I'm a teenager. In 75, 76, when arguably some of the best music, soul music for sure, was ever recorded. Ever. Arguably the greatest year ever for soul music to be recorded '76. You know, What's Going On album. The list goes on. So that time, especially being a teenager, was very, very impactful. It was very soulful. It was more of a natural time. What really threw us off being from Compton, when we moved to Compton in I was 6. Yeah, we moved there in 68.
Because you were born in France, right?
Yes, I was born in, wow, look at you, Brother Arnold.
I did my homework.
Look at you. I was born in Évreux, France. I bet you don't know what time I was born.
That I don't know, my man. Sorry.
1 a.m. in Europe. Yes, I was. My father was in the army, so I do have a dual citizenship.
Okay.
You know, so around that time, 68. I'm 6 years old. Compton is white, and for those that know the history of Compton, the Watts riot come up, and blacks are migrating towards Compton, which is then a cow town. Mm-hmm. Before you know it, it's a cow town that goes from soul to gangs to drugs to, it's like we've been infiltrated. Mm-hmm. And just seemingly out of nowhere, we're overwhelmed with, violence and all type of behaviors that we from that generation didn't grow up with, but it, looking back in hindsight, seemingly was imposed upon us. And of course, dance wasn't new. But it's something that made Poppin / pop locking unique, especially around 1979 in the Southland. I'm in the 11th grade going to Dominguez High. Dominguez High is right in the heart of Pyrus and Crips.
Yep. One side enters in one side of the gate, the others enter on the other side of the gate.
You know it. If you're on the Crip side, you come through the Alonzo gate.
There it is.
If you're on the Pyru side, you come through the Compton Boulevard gate.
Yep.
And Brother Arnold, I'm sure, you can see, looking back in hindsight, too, the design for these young black men to destroy each other.
Yeah.
Because it was inevitable. I mean, you know what's going on, and you put these guys in the heart of where their youth would probably override any maturity or wisdom that they could possibly have. And the results were imminent, which is what Compton has built its reputation on. A lot of more so than crime, murder.
Yeah.
Killing. Gangster shit.
Yeah.
So pop locking, especially for us, and I was a guy, I could fight. I grew up taking martial arts because I was a boy that grew up Roosevelt Elementary School getting beat up by the boys from Whaley. And junior high was a big thing when you're in elementary. I mean, some of these guys had mustaches and beards and had deep voices. And when you got this kind of, the leather coat thing and everybody trying to be tough and, I'm a kid. I'm afraid. Mm-hmm. So a couple of times getting beat up and getting your lunch money taken, and if you're from Compton, what you're going to learn is this. Hey, cat, you're going to have to fight.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
That you want to live, you got to fight. You don't have to be mean. You don't have to be a gangster, but you're going to have to fight if you're going to protect yourself. So, along with already being a dancer, martial arts became interesting to me, and I became very good at it. And I learned very early, when I first started taking martial arts, I just wanted to defend myself and fight like any other young kid, but I learned very early from my teacher that it was really more about discipline and thinking and being able to control myself, which further appealed to me, because when you're young, if you got some drive and some motivation, you can take that energy and do something positive. And fortunately, I had that and converted into being a phenomenal dancer because of first of all, the natural gift, rhythm, being a musician, and then just the art of being disciplined with my body, which Poppin really is. The reason that became important, Brother Arnold, is because you know there's a lot of dances, and dance has always been attractive, but very few dances that you can mention have stopped traffic.
Very true.
Because there's something about that hit. And when you got it and it looks good and neat and tight, what it is a demonstration of your ability to recognize frequency. You know, that wall. How does he do that? Where's that hit? How do you move? How do you know? So what's so awesome about it is the ability to control and compartmentalize your body. And it was at a time where we were fighting each other and killing each other, bro. So that intention, that replaced me having to physically hit you.
Yeah. Tick-a-Lot kind of broke that down. He said that the harder you hit, it was kind of an extension of gang culture, right?
Because, and look at the pop lock culture. We got the jackets with the letters and the
Old
and
English
the name.
and
You know, we in groups, so you know we've got the grouping parts together. You know, the affiliation, the oneness, the community, the I'm better than you, that I can take you down. You know, my crew is better than your crew. And you mean to tell me that we found a way on our own? Come on, Pop Lockers. We found a way on our own, not through going to jail, not through lecturing and counseling, not through law being imposed on us, Brother Arnold, but through our own culture. We found a way to remedy our own issue. No wonder 40 years later, this art form is all over the world, and it'll never die.
yeah.
And here's why. One thing I expressed to Cool Boy, who, let me say this to all the listeners. When this man, by the time, you know, Cool Boy is probably about 7 years younger than me. But I love this man dearly. He reached out to me for 2 years. I ignored him for 2 years. Because I accomplished everything in this dance that could be done at the time that I did it. And little did I know that this culture, because of the expansion of it around the world, and then the advent of the internet and the influences thereof, a lot of the stories that were told about the dance became controversial, because now people on the internet don't have to travel overseas to verify anything. These are posts online. Come to find out, pop locking doesn't exist. What are you talking about? Now, I don't know anything about this because I've moved on. I don't have to prove myself. I'm already the original king of pop, so I never had to defend it. Everybody that saw me dance knows. Everybody agrees. You know, and it's a beautiful thing. And little did I know that what had happened is there's an argument whether even pop locking exists.
Really?
And when I hear this, Brother Arnold, I think this is frivolous. I think it's childish. I think that, you know, if somebody's arguing that, it's simply because they don't know.
Yeah.
So I didn't pay it much mind. And I ignored this man for 2 years. And I think he wrote me one time and he asked me, I think, a question about, do I really know the impact that I have? Something to that effect.
Huh.
And I wanted to reach out to him. And as soon as I watched some of his videos, and I said, okay, gang-affiliated dude doing his thing. But I loved him because the character that he presented, almost like MC Hammer, is caricaturistic. Caricaturistic meaning Cool Boy could be a doll. It could be a superhero. The way he presents the dance and the way he promotes it. And I just thought that that was so unique and so artsy and so close to our culture, him being from Compton. And when we began to talk and build our bond, I was really, really glad that I did, because I was able to clear up a lot of things because of who I am. Mm-hmm. This culture, number one, the term pop locking, I don't think there's any argument anywhere anymore that it exists. And I know damn sure not on your show.
Nah, we keep that shit alive here.
You know, so it's just been a beautiful ride, Brother Arnold.
Yeah.
And, you know, in 1981, it was really good because Alonzo, my big brother,
yeah,
who I love dearly, who without him, I don't think there would even be a furtherance of our culture, because we wouldn't have the kickstand to stand on. Lonzo was like the kickstand for all of the ideas. We could rest on him because he was one at the time, being so young, 21, 22 at the time, mm-hmm. that even though we had all the other venues and promoters, Uncle Jam's Army and all the other things, they moved around. Lonzo was a staple. Eve After Dark on El Segundo and Avenon, you knew it was going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so him opening those doors for us gave us a place to not only express our art, but to set the stage for where we wanted to compete. You know, and we knew, you know, where it was going to be. Because, you know, you can go to a Uncle Jam's Army thing, and it'd be in Carson one night. Mm-hmm. And then the next night it'd be somewhere in L.A. Because they moved around depending on where the venue was. Mm-hmm. But Compton, we had a spot. Eve After Dark.
Yep.
With Captain Crunch and the Funky Bunch. My brothers Charles Washington, Gary, Steve, those brothers. So many wonderful groups, Talents, One Arm Bandit. So many other groups were around at that time. And that's when the culture was alive, because we knew we were making a difference. We didn't know that it was all over the world, because we wouldn't have had any reason to think beyond, you know, our surroundings. We didn't have the internet.
Yeah.
You know, Soul Train we knew we could be on. You know, that was our ticket to the world, but there was no life for a dancer. There was no tour for a dancer, which is what influenced me to go into the Air Force. You know, when you got to get out of Compton by this time, because your mama's telling you to. Mm-hmm. You're going to leave here. You know what it is. You're going to leave here. Mm-hmm. I don't know where you're going to go.
It's like that saying, you don't have to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here.
You going to leave here. You know, and at the time I thought she hated me. Rest in peace, Mama. But I know, thank you every day. Because one thing she embedded in me is that you were going to be gone. And I had to make decisions. So we all know in high school when the recruiters, and you have senior day and career day and all of that, and all the recruiters and the whoever that trying to get the next kid into their thing. They had the military there, and I looked at the uniforms first because, you know, I'm a young, impressionable kid that doesn't know, like any other kid, what I want to do with my life after high school. I am a pop locker. I am the king of pop, and that's what I know. 17, that's what I know. Mm-hmm. One thing about the Air Force recruiter, he said, I went to his booth, he said, what do you do? He didn't ask me what I wanted to do. It was really unique, his approach to me. He said, what do you do?
Interesting, okay.
Right, you feel that?
Yeah.
He said, so what do you do? I said, I'm a dancer. Oh, you can dance in the Air Force. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah, you got to be good. Oh, I am good. I'm the best. He said, oh, because good, you're going to have to compete. Oh, that's what I do. Oh, you ever heard of Tops in Blue? No, sir. Oh, man, you ever seen the USO tour with Bob Hope, and at that time, that was really big when I was a kid. Here, Bob was on TV with the military, and it's like, wow, yeah, man, it's like that, only with the Air Force. Really? Yeah, I want to do that. Okay, sign you up. It was nothing, and I told everybody, I'm going to the Air Force because I'm going to Tops and Blue. Little did I know you have to go to basic training. And
you thought you were going to go straight and dance.
Come on, man. Yeah, I told the dude I was a dancer, so it wasn't no misunderstanding.
Nope.
Except on my part.
Yeah.
So, I didn't like that part of it. I didn't like the fact that it felt like I was tricked into it. So, overall, I think the military was a cool thing for me. I don't think it was a forever thing for me.
So, did you ever get to dance for Bob Hope? Or on the Bob Hope thing?
Well, that was more Navy, okay, but he used that as an example. Thompson Blue is the same thing for the Air Force.
Oh, dang, okay. Gotcha.
When you watch that clip, the one that you have of 1982, not only did I make Tops and Blue, that's the clip of Tops and Blue, I won first place in the world dance. So when I say first place in the world, I'm talking about this was American Idol before American Idol.
No shit.
Right, because here's how it goes. Everybody in the military, every year there's a talent show. And you sign up under a category. I signed up under dance. So whatever base you're on, and we know how many military bases there are around the world, you compete on that base. You have to win your category to compete in that, what civilians know as a region, what might be a command. You have to win there. Then you have to compete against all the commands, against all the winners of all the categories, and that's what that big event is. Black tie. It's a monster event, almost like the Oscars, bro.
Nice, yeah.
So when I won that, this is against the best dancers in the world at that time. So not only did I win, and the finals were held at Dayton, Ohio Convention Center, as you can see on the videotape. And back then, because things were analog, they only videotaped the winners.
Okay.
You follow me? Because tape cost money back then. It wasn't your age back then. Reels of tape cost money. So, unfortunately, if you competed in Tops and Blue and you didn't make the finals and win, you're not on any tape to be seen from 1982. So you see clearly not only I won my category, but I won Best in Show. When I won Best in Show, when they called my name, I promise you, Brother Arnold, I didn't even know what Best in Show was. I never heard of it before. And when they told me after the show, they said the judges had deemed you the best act, period. That means out of all the singers, bands, ventriloquists, dance groups, everything. Because that dance at that time, the way I moved, and you look at the way I move in that video, 1982, very hard to find movement like that. That sophisticated with this art form that we do today called pop locking. To have that kind of precision, we didn't see it then because we didn't have all of those titles for names and moves and styles and all of that stuff that exists today. We're just moving.
Yeah. Damn, what a dope time, man. I have one more question for you, and then I want to give you a chance to pump what you got coming up. I want to talk about your music, but one last question. We've mentioned it a few times tonight, King of Pop. Tell us a story about how you are connected to Michael Jackson in that title.
Well, this was before Michael Jackson. I mean, if you're my age, it's before Michael Jackson. I grew up a fan of Michael Jackson, of course. He was a couple of years older than me. And so, he's right in my wheelhouse. Music, impact, influence, everything. Mm-hmm. I wasn't a singer back then when I was a kid growing up, but I was always a dancer. We never compared ourselves to Michael Jackson because what he did was unique to him. Again, with the pop locking, because the dance was so close to gang culture, you know that we named ourselves. And our names were similar in fashion to our gang style names, except now it's affiliated with what you do well with the dance. You know, if you couldn't pop good and you waved good, you didn't want to be Poppin Arnold. You didn't want to be that shit.
Yeah, you want to be like Aqua something.
Yeah, you better be Aqua, Liquid, Aqua Arnold. That's cool. And wave, so nobody's going to ever hold you accountable for having that hard-ass hit. But you're going to go up against cats that got that kind of wave or Aqua movement, as we affectionately call it, here on your show. You know, and so when it comes to, I got hardest hits and I can move, I can do it all. So I'm thinking of a name, like Animated Ant. And I'm like, hell no, that's so whack. I'm like, not a lot of good stuff. And I said, Poppin Ant. No. Poppin Anthony. No. Poppin King. Poppin King. That's my last name. Poppin King. King Pop. King Pop. King Pop. And I told the group, I said, yeah, I'm going to be King Pop. And then when we went to go get our letters on our jacket, I said, put of in the middle of it. Okay, I said, dude, King of Pop is kind of arrogant.
That's about as arrogant as it gets.
And I said, yeah, put the of in there then.
Nice.
He said, you're going to have to prove it. Make sure it's on everything. Make sure it's on every jacket. It's on every tie. It's on everything everywhere I go. And anybody that wants it, I will gladly give it to you with a smile. Because this is the greatest gift on the planet. And it will be my joy to hand you your ass with a ribbon on it.
Love that.
You dig, Brother Arnold?
I'm digging, man. So how did Michael Jackson end up, like, I guess, did he hear that name in the street?
What's funny is, I can't accuse Michael of anything, but we all knew, especially from Compton, that the term King of Pop had been being used since 1979. And the association, now mind you, in 1981, I'm gone because my version of touring is going to the Air Force to dance and compete. So technically, I am on tour dancing. That's what I'm doing. So I'm nowhere in the California scene. As a matter of fact, I'm outside of California as far as Anchorage, Alaska.
Damn.
Meanwhile, the scene picks up for a while, and I heard the Cool Boy interview that you all have done. Great job, by the way, Brother Arnold. You're a phenomenal host.
Thank you, sir.
With Boogaloo Shrimp, or about Boogaloo Shrimp, who was a protege of mine, who used to watch me dearly, with beautiful young kid who was very respectful and always watched. Always watched. So he's a little older than Cool Boy, but he's younger than me. So he wasn't, he didn't jump in circles with the big dogs at that time. I forgot why we even got on that.
Oh no, let's see. We were talking about Cool Boy, and then it's all. Oh, you said you watched the show between Cool Boy and Boogaloo Shrimp. Maybe you're gonna touch on the origins.
I forgot.
It's all good. Don't even worry about it. But we were talking about Michael Jackson.
Right, that's it.
There we go.
So around that time, the scene had picked up, then the movies Breakin and all of these things. And Michael, in '79, he had the Off the Wall album. Now, I'm privy to know certain things because, later on I go on to be in the record business because I was always a musician. I wasn't a singer, but I am now. And we were signed, Larkin Arnold, who's a prominent figure in the music business who I was signed to also signed Michael Jackson to CBS. And I was privy to the stories because Michael's biggest thing is that he wanted to cross over. He didn't just want to be a soul artist. It was important to him to reach the entire world. That was his passion. That's why he wanted to leave the Jacksons, all of that. So Off the Wall sold about 5 million records at that time. At that point, it gave him leeway to do whatever he wanted to do. So we know the next album is a Thriller album.
Yeah.
Right? And this is some 6 years later. Right? This or 4 years later or so, 83, 84. And in those videos, like Beat It and a few other videos, you see the connection to popping.
Mm-hmm.
Call it popping because you see Pete and a host of others with their influence on Michael Jackson with the dance. And then when he did Motown 24 in 1984, the biggest thing about his performance wasn't the song.
It was when he broke out into the moonwalk,
because
right?
the word on the street is he's going to do the moonwalk, which we know was backslide. Now, I'm in Alaska at this time. By this time, he starts calling himself the King of Pop. Now, the idea is that's affiliated with pop music, and we'll roll with that, but he's also affiliated with Poppin. So that's where the rub came in. Poppin, like pop, like how, bro? Where you get that from? And we see the connection because you're with poppers. Now, if you've never been with poppers, if you never talked about the moonwalk, then maybe King of Pop is a coincidence.
Oh no,
we're not mad on the street because we from Compton. We always love what's at the core real. And Michael Jackson we know and love already. So even though we knew it wasn't the moonwalk, you knew it wasn't the moonwalk, Brother Arnold. You knew it was backslide.
Yeah.
You knew he wasn't the first one that created it. We didn't care because this was a portal for all of us that Michael was carrying, even though I knew it was my name. I was proud that it was my name and it was Michael Jackson.
Yeah, the number one
And
entertainer
I
of all
was
time.
proud that to see him on television doing what he did and that the world screamed about it. Because we'd never seen anything like it on that stage. Of course, we got a chance to see Electric Boogaloos on Soul Train, which we loved. But Michael Jackson was Michael Jackson. He had a lane that represented all of us. So we respected him for using the name. I've always respected it, and it's always been a talking point for me, to augment what it is that I've done in this culture, and respectfully so, because I'm respected for it. So I honorably share the title and use in front of it the original one.
Nice. Now we have a couple minutes left. I want to give you a chance to promote your music. I know you've been doing that for a minute now. Talk to me about that, and where can we find you, and all that good stuff.
AnthonyAKKing.com.